I lit a match to feel a little warmth in the freezing night. Through the flickering flame, I wished for a full meal and a peaceful sleep. Tonight, I was sleeping on the streets again. I'm Josh. I've been homeless for 3 months now. My hands were so cold that they've gone completely numb. I lit another match to feel a bit of warmth. Suddenly, a gentle voice spoke up.
Do you need help?
I looked up and saw a woman in her 40s. Her eyes were warm as she smiled at me.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a TikToker who helps the homeless. I'd like to help someone like you.
Chloe showed me her TikTok account, which had thousands of followers. Her live streams received a lot of donations.
Come with me. I'll help you find a job and get a better life, just like the others I've helped.
A spark of hope flickered in my chest. I agreed to follow her home, convinced this would be the turning point in my life. When I stepped into Chloe's house, something felt off. There was a strong scent of bleach in the air. I covered my nose and glanced around.
Don't worry, I just cleaned the house. Make yourself at home, but remember, you must never go to the end of the hallway.
I smiled and nodded, but the smell of bleach made me uneasy. Over the next few days, I joined Chloe's live streams and shared my story. Every time we went live, the donations kept pouring in. I could eat well and sleep soundly in a warm bed. My world seemed brighter, but a lingering unease gnawed at me. Every time I looked into Chloe's eyes, I sensed something was wrong, though I couldn't pinpoint what. One afternoon, while Chloe was out, I decided to watch TV to pass the time. A breaking news report shocked me. It was about the mysterious disappearances of several homeless people. My heart sank. One of them was Sam, someone I knew. I remembered seeing him with Chloe a few days ago, but there had been no live stream featuring him. What was going on? I took a deep breath to calm myself. I had been with Chloe for days now, and she had treated me well. My unease grew. Could Sam's disappearance be connected to Chloe? The overwhelming smell of bleach was suspicious. I decided to go to the end of the hallway. There, I found an old door. My heart raced as I opened it and stepped inside. The stench of bleach hit me again, sending chills down my spine. On a shelf, I saw dozens of blood-filled vials, all neatly sealed and organized. Then I saw the board, covered with photos of missing homeless people, just like in the news. I spotted Sam's picture. Only one thought raced through my mind. What has Chloe done to these people? My legs felt frozen. I saw my own photo on the board. Was I next? I had to escape immediately. When I opened my eyes, Chloe was staring at me with a cold gaze, nothing like the kindness she had shown before. I was stunned when I realized I had been tied on an operating table surrounded by medical tools and empty blood vials.
Didn't I tell you not to go to the end of the hallway?
What happened to Sam?
Sam? His blood will soon be sold on the black market. I'm going to be rich.
Her words hit me like a slap. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're a criminal, Chloe. She stepped closer and put on gloves.
You'll soon join your friend, Josh.
She injected something into my arm. My body grew heavy, and I could feel all my strength draining away. Chloe happily arranged the blood vials on a shelf.
A perfect plan,
she said with a grin. In that cold, sterile room, I realized I had fallen into a trap Chloe had set long ago. Sharp pains shot through me as my blood was drawn. I felt myself growing colder.
I'm Edna. and I live in a village near the edge of the forest. The young girls here are often targeted by big wolves, and these red scarves dyed with madder roots are the only things that protect us.
Edna, we need your help. Ruby got hurt and can't go into the forest. Can you take her place?
Of course I can. Every year, the villagers send a girl into the forest to give offerings to the old witch, hoping she'll bring a bountiful harvest.
You have to hand this basket to her and follow her instructions. And remember, don't lose this red scarf, or the wolves will smell you.
I looked at Ruby, who was supposed to go. She looked at me anxiously, like she wanted to say something. I know going into the forest is dangerous, but I agreed to take Ruby's place because I want to find out what happened to my sister, Sophie, who disappeared 5 years ago. This forest is always foggy, damp and dark, making it hard to tell day from night. The only colours I see are from the mushrooms. I tried picking one, but even though they look pretty, they smell like rotten meat. I saw some bright red flowers too, but I didn't want to pick them anymore. I heard wolves howling all over the forest. I felt like a pair of bloodthirsty eyes were secretly watching me in the dark. But when I turned around, I didn't see anything. I felt really uneasy. I walked a little further and found a bear. It was lying weakly on the ground, with its leg trapped under a big branch. It looked like it had been there for days. I felt sorry for the bear and wanted to help. I tried lifting the branch, but it wasn't as heavy as I thought. While I was using my Red Riding Hood to bandage the bear's leg, it suddenly thanked me. It scared me.
Thank you, kind girl. To thank you, I'll warn you that a wolf is following you.
I surprised, but quickly responding. Don't worry, I have this red scarf. The wolf won't be able to find me.
No one who's been targeted by the wolf can escape.
Don't worry, I'll go to the witch's house right away. I'll be safe there. I finally found the wooden house in the middle of the forest.
Come in.
The whole house smelled damp and cold. Mushrooms were growing on the corners of the walls and next to the table, making the house seem like it was part of the forest outside. It didn't feel warm or safe at all. It seemed like the owner of this house was very lonely. My name is Edna. The villagers sent me to visit you. Are you sick?
Yes, I'm sick. So please let me lie in bed and don't come near me.
I thought fresh food might make the old woman feel better. But when I opened the basket, all the food was rotten. This is strange. It shouldn't take more than half a day to get here from the village. How could the food go bad so quickly?
You must be hungry. I've made you a mushroom soup.
I did as she said and opened the pot of soup, but the soup inside was dark and thick, with a fishy smell that made me want to throw up. I don't make the old woman sad. I secretly poured the soup away. The soup was delicious. Thank you for dinner. The lonely old woman wanted me to stay with her for the night. But in the middle of the night, I was woken up by the sound of her whispering with someone. Curious, I looked towards the door. The person I thought was an old woman had a face exactly like my sister. Sophie.
Hansel, you're late.
That girl dropped her red scarf, which made me lose track and eat a corpse. It was disgusting.
She ate the mushroom soup and fell asleep. Just like our agreement. You take the soul, and I take the body.
Was my poor sister possessed like this too? My whole body froze, and I ran out of that scary house, trembling. It turned out that the sacrifice wasn't the offerings I brought, but myself. I have to escape this forest and expose the horrible truth to the villagers. The bright red flowers from the day were actually dried pools of blood, and the colourful mushrooms grew from them. They were the ones causing the hallucinations. It seems these mushrooms were the real cause of the illusions. I met the bear I had saved again, but it had been dead for days, its body rotting, its stomach ripped open. Suddenly, a cold wind rushed by, making my hair stand on end. Hansel had caught my scent. Terrified and desperate, I tried to back away from the evil creature. My hand crushed a cluster of mushrooms. These mushrooms, although they caused me to hallucinate, also made me stronger. I recklessly grabbed the whole cluster and ate them greedily. A feeling of dizziness washed over me. A sense of power filled my entire body. I stubbornly charged forward and attacked, stabbing the village chief in the eye, making him scream in pain. After taking down the wolf, I ran away, but Sophie blocked my path. Her body had rotted, turning into a giant, hideous mushroom. I picked up the bare bone and rushed to fight, but the person in front of me was just an illusion. Confused, I looked at my hand, and suddenly my stomach felt like it was being pierced through with pain. The feeling of pain pulled me out of the hallucination. It turned out I was just struggling in vain. That bastard Hansel had caught me, taken over me. My body was being enveloped by the mushrooms. I could clearly feel my soul being gradually sucked away. There was no more pain, no more torment, only a numbness that led to death.
Brazil was everything I dreamed it would be. Warm sun, vibrant music, and miles of golden sand stretching as far as the eye could see. Miles, my best friend and perpetual thrill-seeker, had planned every detail of our trip. He swore up and down it would be life-changing. So, when he suggested we visit a unique, authentic snake massage spa, I hesitated. The very mention of snakes made my stomach churn. But Miles laughed off my concerns.
Come on, man,
He said, grinning from ear to ear.
it's all the rage. People say it's therapeutic. Plus, what's the point of a vacation if we don't try something crazy?
Against my better judgment, I agreed. The spa was tucked away in a narrow alley, its faded sign barely legible under the dim streetlights. The door creaked ominously as we entered, and the air inside was thick with the mingling scents of incense and damp earth.
Relax.
Miles said, clapping me on the shoulder.
It's supposed to feel ancient, authentic.
The receptionist, a tall woman with piercing green eyes, led us into a room that looked like a jungle terrarium. Vines hung from the ceiling, and the ground slithered. Hundreds of snakes of varying sizes and colors writhed on the floor, their scales catching the dim light like tiny shards of glass. Okay, nope, I'm out. I whispered, my voice cracking, but Miles was already stepping out of his shoes.
They're harmless, non-venomous. Just let them crawl around a bit. It's supposed to be good for circulation.
He lowered himself onto the snake-covered floor, leaning back with a satisfied sigh as the creatures began slithering over his legs.
See? Totally fine.
He said, waving me over. My body refused to move, but Miles's teasing was relentless. Eventually, I convinced myself to take a single step. The moment my bare foot touched the floor, the cold, slimy texture of a snake's scales brushed against my skin. I froze. Another snake curled around my ankle, its tiny, harmless bite sending a strange, tingling sensation up my leg. My heart raced, but as more snakes swarmed around me, I began to feel oddly numb.
Not so bad, right?
Miles grinned. I wanted to scream at him, but my throat was dry. The next phase of the treatment was supposed to be deep relaxation. We were led to 2 massage tables and instructed to lie face down. The room was dark now, lit only by flickering candles. The snakes had been cleared from the floor, but the eerie hissing sound remained, echoing faintly through the walls. As I lay there, the sensation of something smooth and heavy rolling across my back made me shudder. It's just part of the process, I whispered to myself. Breathe. It's fine. For a moment, I managed to relax. The weight moving along my spine felt oddly soothing, like a warm compress. But then I felt it slither up my shoulder. That's not a hand, I muttered, eyes snapping open. The sight that greeted me froze my blood. A massive snake was coiled around Miles, its thick body constricting him like a vice. He looked at me, gasping for air, but he was smiling.
It's fine. These snakes are trained. It's...
His voice broke off into a choking wheeze as the snake tightened its grip. Panic surged through me. "Miles!" I shouted, jumping off the table. But before I could reach him, something heavy dropped onto my back. The impact knocked the air from my lungs. It was another snake. This one was even larger, its muscular body wrapping itself around my chest and shoulders. Its scales were cold and rough, scratching against my skin as it coiled tighter and tighter. I clawed at it, trying to free myself, but the more I struggled, the tighter it squeezed. My vision blurred as my chest heaved. Desperate for air, I could hear Miles screaming now, his voice a hoarse, guttural cry.
Help me!
I tried to look at him, but the snake's tail wrapped around my neck, pinning my head in place. My pulse pounded in my ears as the edges of my vision darkened. With one final burst of adrenaline, I threw myself sideways off the table. The snake's grip loosened just enough for me to suck in a ragged breath. I hit the floor hard, the impact jolting through my ribs, but I was free. For a moment I lay there, gasping and disoriented. Then I heard it, a low, guttural hiss. I turned my head just in time to see the snake lunging toward me, its massive jaws unhinged and gaping wide. I scrambled backward, but there was nowhere to go. The snake's mouth engulfed me, its sharp teeth slicing into my skin as it began to swallow me whole. I'm a microbiologist. My specialty? Fungal and viral mutations. If it's gross, dangerous, or involves things sprouting out of places they shouldn't, I'm your guy. It's a dream job. If your dreams include endless pressure, angry bosses, and occasionally dodging test subjects that want to eat your face. Most days, I wanted to curl into a ball and scream, but instead I trudged on, wearing my lab coat like a cape of martyrdom. Then one day, I thought, what if I didn't have to? The idea hit me like a runaway pipette. What if I turned myself into one of those creatures? Temporarily, of course. I'd be too sick to work, collect my occupational hazard insurance, and finally relax. Bonus: nobody could yell at a guy with mutant claws. Thus began the project. I concocted a gas designed to mutate human bodies for 3 days. The fungal compound would dissolve and reconfigure tissue, creating temporary, horrifying mutations before self-destructing. Side effects included mild swelling and a rash, basically the flu with an extra dose of nightmare fuel. Perfect for taking a break without worrying about anyone dying. Step 1. Test it on myself, because that's always the best idea, right? I dipped my finger into the glass jar containing the gas. At first, nothing happened. Then, everything happened. The skin on my finger turned black, sprouting tiny fungal threads that twisted and curled like they had a vendetta. My veins popped like black lightning bolts, and my hand ballooned into a grotesque claw. The pain was intense. But an hour later, it was over. My hand was back to normal, save for some itchy redness. I even high-fived myself with my non-mutated hand for pulling it off. The plan was working. By lunchtime, everything was ready. I figured I'd reward myself with a nice last meal before my vacation. A bowl of pho never tasted so good. I got back, though, something was wrong. The capsule was locked. Inside was Min, my overly curious colleague, slumped over like he'd just taken a really bad nap. My stomach dropped faster than my high school GPA. The idiot must have activated the gas while snooping around. "Min!" I shouted, banging on the glass. No response. And then he moved. His body spasmed as fungal veins crept across his skin. His limbs contorted, his jaw unhinged, and his head grew. A massive, mushroom-like structure burst from his skull, spraying spores across the pod. Min, buddy, you okay?" He roared. The pod door hissed open and Min stepped out, or what was left of him. His claws scraped the floor as he lumbered forward, a terrifying mix of rage and confusion. "Okay, let's not do anything rash," I stammered, backing away. He didn't listen. One swipe of his oversized arm sent my lab bench flying. I dodged and bolted for the control panel, slamming the emergency lockdown button. The lab door sealed shut with a satisfying clang. No way was I letting the boss find out. If this got out, I'd be buried in work, overtime, and pay cuts. This mess was mine to fix. Unfortunately, Min wasn't a fan of locked doors. He pounded on the reinforced glass, cracks spiderwebbing with each hit. I needed a plan. Fast. Grabbing a fire extinguisher, I crept toward him. The second he broke through, I let loose a blizzard of foam, momentarily blinding him. He howled, swiping wildly, but I managed to activate the decontamination system. Gas filled the room, designed to neutralize pathogens and hopefully raging mushroom men. For a moment, it worked. Min staggered, coughing and wheezing. I started to breathe again. But then he adapted, because of course he did. Great. Desperation hit. My eyes darted to the capsule, the one thing that could even the odds. If I mutated myself, I might stand a chance. I sprinted for it, sliding into the pod like an action hero. But when I hit the activation button, nothing happened. Sparks flew from the control panel. Min's earlier rampage had severed the power supply. Of course! Why not? I slumped in the pod, exhausted. Min stalked closer, his heavy breaths filling the room. I closed my eyes, ready to accept my fate. But then, salvation arrived. The lab door burst open, and a team of security guards stormed in. They shot Min with tranquilizer darts and hit him with electrified nets. He thrashed and roared. But eventually, the beast went down. As the guards dragged Min away, my boss showed up, hitting me with their signature line.
Care to explain what the hell just happened here?
I gave a weak thumbs up. Science experiment? You'd think my problems ended there, but no. First, I was stuck writing a mountain of incident reports. Then, I was ordered to develop a cure for Min while taking over his workload. After a week of sleepless nights and more caffeine than any human should consume, I finally cracked it. Min was cured, though he wasn't thrilled about the whole mutant mushroom thing. Fair. As for me, I learned an important lesson. Sometimes taking a break is better than accidentally turning your coworker into a murder machine. But hey, at least I didn't have to dodge test subjects this week. Small victories.